I would look at Revolut. I would look at N26.
What's the point? Yeah, they have an allergy to paying.
It's terrible. There's like ad after ad after ad.
It's 85% of the revenue.
As much money as possible.
Where's the money?
Hello, this is Chili Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Edgars, and today we're going to have a big podcast. Today's theme is how to understand if your business needs a mobile application. Today I'm joined by two very accomplished gentlemen from their respected fields, Vyacheslav, or Slava in short, and Marius. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey.
Please tell me about a short description. What you are, where you're from, why people should listen to you.
Okay, relax, no pressure. Yeah, I'm Slava, and I'm the boss of Edgars, actually.
That's why I'm so stressed.
But that's how I got the place here. But yeah, I've been doing mobile apps for the past 7 years, and I've did quite many of them. I have my couple of apps myself. So yeah, I'm trying to help businesses with that. So that's why I was interested on how to define what kind of business needs an app and what doesn't, what I can sell, what I cannot sell. And that's why, the idea to this podcast appeared. Marius?
I'm Marius. I'm group CEO of a company called Shortcut, creating apps, also a shareholder of chililabs. I used to be a developer, created my first, or set up the company Shortcut in 2007. We built our first app in 2008. So we've pretty much been in the business of app creation for businesses since the App Store was launched. I don't know how many times I've been asked the question, should my business have an app or not? And sometimes the answer is yes, other times it's no. So I'm looking forward to discussing this here with you guys.
So at the beginning, when the person has an idea, what is the first thing that he has to do? Like set business goals, set objectives for his app, or how it starts?
I would say think about who's going to use it. I think that's always like an exercise. If you have a business, you're very focused on your own kind of business, what it can do, and looking at technology as ways of improving your business. It's easy to forget the end user is going to use the app. And I think very many apps sort of fail in the App Store because they try to solve a problem that users aren't having. So I would start with that.
I would start with where's the money question first.
Cool.
Because I have met quite many startup founders who are very excited and they're saying, hey, this is going to be a new cool thing. I have checked, this is $1 billion market. And then they are already pitching the functionality. This is going to be cool. But when you ask them, hey, how are you going to earn on that? What do you mean? Like people going to pay for it? Yeah, but have you made economical model and stuff like that? Then there is a question, because development is not cheap, and you have to, if you really want to do it, you have to understand where you're gonna get money back, because it's not like it's investors' paradise is gone. You cannot just pitch money into something and see if it will grow. So for my opinion, the money is the king. Like if there is a need, sure, but can you monetize it? That's
I tend to agree. I think one thing that probably differentiates a bit between the kind of apps is some businesses do this as a side business. So I mean, the first app that we created in Oslo was for public transport. They already have a running business, but if you work as a startup and your app is the product you're going to monetize, you definitely need a business model for that. That being said, I think it also makes sense for existing businesses to think about the business value of creating apps.
Yeah.
What about other kind of apps, like misleading ones? This more tends to like mobile games, for example. Here's the screenshot of the application. It's super cool, super nice. Come join us. You download the game. It's terrible. There's like ad after ad after ad. And the goal of the game, not the goal of the game, but the goal of the business is just to extract as much money as possible. It's not about the audience. It's not about user retention. It's just like download an app, watch 3 ads, and that's it.
I think that these guys actually really know what they are doing. And they are scamming people out, but they know how to monetize it well. it's not something that I would really want to do as an agency, but those companies, they really know how to. I bet that their marketing department is kick-ass, and they really know how to get their money back, because these apps are usually blocked, and the lifespan of this app can be a month, can be 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks they have to get their money back. So you can imagine how efficient they are. So yeah, but yeah, scam is not a good strategy for a long term.
Yeah, and I guess that also, I mean, in terms of games, is very often ad-based revenue, and I think ad-based revenue is very often it's a tricky road to go down, because you end up like monetizing the user who really wants to do something else than be watching ads. So I think that the other kinds of monetization, like subscriptions, in-app purchases, and so on, are maybe a bit more fair approach to the business model.
Well, I have a couple of friends who are doing the ad-driven apps, and they have absolutely different approach to that. Their main idea is that you are using something that I have created, so I have to get a share, like I have to get my money back. And I don't know, especially on Android, 95% of people will never buy anything. Like they have allergy to paying, and including myself. I was using Android for 8 years and never paid for anything. So yeah, basically, and they have a reasoning behind that why they need to get money back. That's why ad-driven revenue is good for them.
How about apps which sell things through the app, where you actually make money and sort of get into the source of revenue? I mean, we worked with ticket sales, we worked with hairdressers, online content, m-commerce. That tends to be more straight towards the actual business model. What's your experience, Slava?
Like when the product is part of the app?
Yeah, so you're selling tickets to a cinema, or you're selling products to be delivered at home.
Well, yeah, it's. I think that those businesses really need an app, because 80% of traffic is through the mobile, and either you can have a website, which is suboptimal because you can do a limited amount of push notifications. Nobody accepts push notifications in web, or maybe I'm bad at forcing users to do it, but. Yeah, you can use push notifications, you can do a lot of in-app activities, and you can track where users are headed, have they dropped something and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that if your money prediction shows that actually with a lot of extra activities we can get our money back and earn a bit more, then you should definitely do it. What about you? What do you think?
I think the first app that we created, after a while, it got support for buying public transport tickets. This was back in 2009, I think. And at the time, you would buy paper tickets to ride the tram or the metro. And they had this, they were guessing that they were going to see 5% of the revenue go into the app. Today, 15 years later, it's 85% of the revenue is done through the app, which makes the app a lot more important, I think. So having an app which actually drives the majority of your revenue makes for different kind of apps, I think.
And what was their initial idea? Sorry, I'm stealing your bread, but yeah, what was their initial idea? Why they came to you?
Well, first app was our idea. So we pitched it to them. The iPhone was just coming out, and we were thinking about what kind of things. We really wanted to build an app for the iPhone, and we were thinking what kind of apps would we want as users, as I said. So we created a pitch for a concept of getting tram, bus, metro like times, finding the connections and so on. Then the app got a companion app for buying tickets. At this point in time, the municipality of Oslo had just burned 80 million euros on a new ticketing system, which was paper or RFID based. And that project was just failed. They realized they couldn't be doing paper tickets anymore. They just thought of trying, let's try to make this in an app. And as it turned out, that became the golden standard.
But I'm trying to understand the motivation. So they tried to save money, or they tried to reach new user base, or what were...
Well, they needed to sell tickets, which you had to do in a kiosk, like a newspaper stand. Would buy it on paper. It's really expensive for them to sell it that way. They didn't want you to buy it from the drivers anymore because the drivers were going to be busy driving the buses and the metros. So we're thinking, what do we do then? They could do it online. And then the idea of doing it in an app came to life, which turned out to be the future.
So in the end, they tried to save money, right? Like on internal processes, on the salaries of the bus drivers, on their happiness, on the printing materials, and on distribution and stuff like that. So like in a...
Yeah, money and convenience. I think convenience was an issue. So, yeah.
All right.
In our public transport is also kind of like a similar situation, because for a long time we had also these tickets, just tickets. Then we had like other ways of these tickets. For now we have like two apps that you can buy tickets from. You can also buy a ticket from the bus driver. You can buy a ticket from kiosk. I mainly use just an app. It's super convenient. You can just hop on any public transport, scan QR code. That's it. You bought a ticket. Super easy. Yeah, but we have like 10 different ticket methods. But I hope really soon that we all gonna go to this QR method only. I don't think elderly people will appreciate it, but it's gonna be super convenient for everyone. But yeah, jumping right back where we kind of left off, we also had a recent project that also had like a side project, if you will, because I'm not going to go into details what the project was called or what it was about, but those people had a website for more than a decade. They could set up appointments with other people. And as a side project, they also have Shopify where you can purchase their brand stuff like that, branded T-shirts, shirts, whatever. And we made an app that significantly decreased their the support activities. For example, if they previously had support 24 hours, like all the time on the call, after the app launched, it was down like 50%. And as a side project, they also wanted to integrate the Shopify into the app. It's not like the main revenue stream, but it's a nice feature for people to have. Hey, we can also buy hoodies, shirts, whatever.
What's the point?
We also had a recent recent project like this. It's not like a rarity anymore for app to only have like one main feature.
But overall, like, what is the most common case that you, Marius, meet with customer? They have existing product, they want to redesign, they want something new. Is it startup? Like, what is your experience? Who is the easiest customer to sell app project to? Or, who doesn't need selling, who wants it already?
I think that many of especially in the current financial climate, many companies are thinking really hard through their investments, which makes it a different ballgame to be pitching apps. In the beginning, it was enough to get your logo in the App Store. Everybody wanted their logo in the App Store. These days, it's a lot more about like business value and also costs. So we see a lot of companies asking how they can leverage their investments in web tech in an app. So if you have, for instance, an e-commerce store or a newspaper, you've invested so much into a website, and then trying it out on mobile, what kind of leverage can you do? So we've been doing quite a lot of projects where we wrap native app experiences around websites, especially for media and e-commerce, and try to find that golden, like these features that you really want to have natively in the app. which is often push notifications. It's getting the navigation to work natively. It's having persistent login, sort of the very personal features. And then a lot of the content can be web-based. Another trend I also think is really important is cross-platform. So we've been seeing cross-platform in different flavors. I know you know a lot about this, Slava. And it's always been a trade-off in our experience, not always, very often been a trade-off of quality versus price. So if you build, we have also built like Xamarin apps, PhoneGap apps, React Native apps for clients, and they never sort of get really right, which has been a bit sad. So we've often ended up advising our clients, if they don't want to do the investment in the full native app, to not make the investment in an app. I think Flutter is changing the game here, the kind of experiences that you have.
I guess this podcast becomes like a advertisement platform for the experiences for Flutter.
That's what all our podcasts are about.
No. But I agree that like we never worked with cross-platform for years, and then we tried it and joined the dark side. But yeah, a lot of businesses, they're actually coming, hey, we heard Flutter or React is good, let's do that because native is way too expensive. But yeah, you do mainly native. Are you like, is it still relevant for your market as well, or it's
I think that Flutter is getting a lot of attention also in our home market. So in Scandinavia, we also have a company in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, where React Native has been really important for a long time. And it's opposite there because it's the minority of the users are on iOS, while in Scandinavia you often use cross-platform to get to the Android users as well as the iOS users. Personally, I'm not totally sold on React Native, but seeing the Flutter apps makes it different, I think, which sort of changes the ball game. So having these like leveraging investments in web technology, having the opportunity of doing cross-platform with Flutter, and also building a lot of the intelligence of the app into the backend rather than just having everything in the front end, which means duplicating between Android and iOS, has driven a lot of work in the backend side.
And jumping back, if a person comes up to a project, when does he start the competitor analysis? After the first release, before the release, when he has the first idea, when can he steal some ideas from competitors? When does the competitor analysis start? Let's say that.
I would think it's a predecessor. I think in my experience, our clients have usually done some kind of research on the obvious ones. So we worked with a lot of banks, and they always know in detail what their competitors have in the market, but also what they're planning to launch. What they don't think that much about is the outside competitors. So in the banking sector, for instance, I would look at Revolut. I would look at N26 because those guys are moving really quickly. We worked with one client, a banking client in Norway, who set the bar on competing with Revolut. And the experience we were able to create with that kind of mindset is just mind-blowing compared to the incumbents. That bank has also become the highest rated app in the Norwegian App Store for banks.
Yeah. Well, I think that you should do the competitor research before you go to the agency or you go to developers pitching your idea, because that will open your eyes. For example, you want to create an app and then you check who has done what, and then you will understand what kind of benchmark you are driving yourself into. For example, if you want to create a educational platform for languages, then you have to know about Duolingo, that how you're going to compete with them. Like, what will be the main core functionality? Because Duolingo has thousands of employees, right? Or, I don't know, Bolt, Wolt, whatever. Like, the big players are there, and you have to compete with them somehow, or you have to diverse into, like, create a niche for yourself. Like, how you're going to be different, right? Because you cannot compete with your small resources. Even if you are a big corporation, you cannot create second Duolingo in half a year. You cannot.
Which is good, because it means you don't need to do the research. If I were to do a language app or any kind of learning app, I would definitely look at Duolingo. If I were to do clothes shopping, I would look at Zalando, which means that a lot of the problems have been solved. So yes, it's still an investment in work, but the guesswork is out of it, which means that you can focus on your niche in that market, which you're saying.
As well as, you can steal a lot of ideas because they spend millions on, figuring out what is the best layout for the card, for example, how to get it. And with the analyzing, you can kind of copy some of the stuff and save yourself a lot of pain in the future. But you have to do it before you start the app work, I think.
I've been doing Duolingo every day for the last 5 years. And it's just mind-boggling how, I've read a lot about their blog posts about how they use machine learning to get really good progression. I've seen what they do with push notifications, but just experiencing it in person is just magical.
I like the passive-aggressive push notifications. I love it, really. He's like, if you don't want it, I don't care, Never come back. And then you're okay, right. Okay, I'm your hostage, yes.
A bit more off topic, but 5 years on Duolingo. How many languages do you speak?
Well, parlo italiano. I've been learning Italian. I did the entire course. Then they changed it, so I had to do half of it again. Then I was done, and I was thinking, should I cancel my subscription? But then my family, of course, we were on the subscription as well. So I started Japanese. So I'm a safe customer at Duolingo at least for 3 more years, because that's very difficult.
So this podcast, hopefully if Duolingo will start sponsoring us, but we'll see. And in general, you're saying that comparator analysis technically is a never-ending thing, because you're always checking what competitors are doing. Oh, he did this feature, I also need it. He changed this, I also need it. Kinda.
Yeah, kind of. But you have to really check what others are doing. Otherwise, but you should really. It's a loophole, especially for the developers who are building their indie apps or something, that they think that features are the main drivers for success. To be honest, not. To be honest, like the wrapping and one core function can be the difference between success and failure, and not if you will create 10 different features but users are only sticking to one, then it will not help you at all, because you can have different products. So I don't know, I think that analytics is the key. You have to understand what are your users doing. You have to understand like where do they click, what do they do, how much time they spend, do they like it or not, and only then invest in something. Because functionality is expensive. You can create the best app, but if you're not going to monetize or marketize it, then it will be the best app in your computer, right? But nobody will know about it. So maybe for especially for the indie developers and for the smaller businesses, better focus on decision making, like what you should build, instead of just we're gonna create this function and it's gonna be a blast. Functions usually don't work like that. I don't know, my opinion.
And it's probably a good source for what not to do. So if going back to the banking apps, what every banking customer is going to tell you is that they want personal finance management. They want to see what they're spending money on. While if you go in and look at the features people actually use in the app, very few customers actually use personal finance management, regardless of how well it's built. So if I were to start a banking app, that's the thing I would just skip doing. It's a money drain. You're going to keep pouring money into it, and it's never going to be good. So rather differentiate on something that your competitors are not doing. So, you use the knowledge of what's working, look at the reviews in the app store, what people are really happy about. That you should copy. All the other stuff, just don't do it.
About the features, how hard it is for a client to sell on the MVP? What is the lowest, the minimum viable product? what is the lowest that the user will agree? Yes, this works fine. Just like a prototype, like some basic colors, some main features. What's the most like common route?
That's a difficult term. I think MVP is. I really like the theory behind it, but I very seldom see it actually working. Probably one way of doing it is if you involve your client and your users in the app from day one. So I really want to like set up a test flight drive build and have people start using it right away. They are going to focus more on the viability than on the completeness of the app. If they can follow along, well, if you were to start an app project today and say we're going to launch in 3 months, you're probably going to be launching in 6 months, and you're going to build a lot of shit that people don't want. So having your end users as part of the journey can actually, you can do testing of what works before you launch the app. But I mean, limiting the scope is about limiting the time, which means that you get earlier into the App Store and the Play Store, and you get actual feedback. And that feedback is probably going to point you in the right direction for the kind of features to build forward.
Yeah, I have the same feeling that personally we recommend customers to go to 3 months. As their MVP. Basically, after 3 months, they have to launch something internally, externally, but it has to hit the production or staging, or at least internal pool of people who will give the feedback. Because we had a couple of examples where we built a product for a year and more, and then there was a reality check that we are adding this new feature, this new feature. And in the end, we launched it and people were using 5-7% of that. They were like, why we invested so much money and nobody needs it, And the only guys who needed it was the founders, and they spent so much money. And so after that times, we recommend building MVP and hit the production as soon as possible. Yeah, you will get bad reviews. Yeah, you will get fewer installs. But you will get them and you will get some feedback. And they will say, hey, guys, don't invest in this. This is nobody gonna use it anyways, so don't waste money on this. And this is a good feedback. Basically, they will stop the bleeding and they will say, okay, we got to go somewhere else. We're going to change the direction entirely, or we're going to stop the production and do something else. This is also fine. This is the whole purpose of MVP. You give something valuable. If it's not valuable, you either change it or do something else. Yeah,
we were on a project where we had a really short time to build it, and we knew that we had a huge backlog, and we were going to have a huge backlog when we launched. So we actually added fake doors to the app, buttons you could click on for features that we knew that people might want, but we hadn't implemented it yet. So the users would click it. We would, of course, register that, yes, Slava just clicked the international payments button. We would tell the user that
coming soon.
It's not done yet, but it's coming. Please let us know if you have any specific wishes about this, which is also a really good way of actually seeing what buttons people click on, because you never know. It might end up being the different features than you imagined in the first place.
I think even Revolut had a button like that. People are jumping around, taking screenshots. Hey, it's Revolut, big app, but they still haven't finished something. Yeah, our big features take a long time to do. But for the MVP, I think a lot of good things also come from analytics. App doesn't have a ton of features. You can still see how many of these features actually the user uses. In the next scope, you can adjust them, delete them, add something to them, stuff like that. So I guess, MVP.
But I think that the main part of it is what you're trying to solve. I think this is the question number one. Why? What you are trying to achieve with app, right? It can be used for earning money. It can be used for risk diversification. For example, you have web traffic only and you want to go to mobile. You can upsell more, or you can save money, or you can, just increase brand awareness, as you mentioned, like everybody wants their icon in the App Store. So you have to understand the purpose, why you are building this. And then when you understand it, you will come to an agency, you will come to developer, and you will understand how much it's going to cost. And then you can make a decision, yes, it's good idea, not good idea. And good company or developer will say, hey, let's minimize it and let's do it as a very, very small project. We will see the traction if it sticks. If it not, what we're gonna do. But at least you will have a plan. This is how ideal world should work. Of course, it's not in reality, but yeah. What's your take on that? Okay,
I thought of, yeah.
Okay, we touched up also on the analytics, but let's delve a bit more into it. What, in your experience, is the best service for analytics of the apps? There's like Firebase, Apps Flyer, stuff like that. Anything else? Anything more? Anything better?
Have you used something?
I've used something. We've been using, so I really liked it when Firebase came along, and they had this notion of sort of removing the barrier between crashes, unhandled events, and expected events, like conversions. We did a project where we discovered that there was a problem with the payment processor in one specific market. So people ended up, I think it was haircuts, so people ended up trying to get the haircut, couldn't get it, and we didn't know until it occurred in logs. So we created a feature for that, like looking after, is there a problem here? Generated an audience for people who have their payments not go through, and then issued a voucher to them. So we told them that we know there was a problem, are bad with the payment gateway. Here's a 20% discount on your next haircut.
Or
yeah. So using audiences, tracking, of course, of conversions, but also errors. I think it's really powerful. And that's what you would do in the normal store. Of course, you would look at the happy path in your grocery store where people go and they follow, toilet paper and beer is the old saying. But actually, look at the person in the grocery store, how they interact with the customers, and try to replicate that. If your milk has gone sour, you have an angry customer. If you treat them well, they're going to like you a lot more. I think you can replicate a lot of that in the digital experience as well.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know, I read it somewhere in the book that the most loyal customer is when you screwed up and you fixed it right away. And then they are the most loyal because they understand that, everybody makes mistakes and they can trust you to fix it. Not just, be ideal and never make mistakes. So, it's counterintuitive, but I read it somewhere, I don't know where, but some wise book.
I think it's from hotels.
Yeah.
It was from the hotel customers are the ones who had the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So we must read some books similar.
You can also see if you put in a new feature in it, you can see the user retention get higher, get lower. You can roll back some changes. For example, Slav, didn't you have experience with one of your apps that paywall change that increased a lot of?
This is not for MVP. This is more for established businesses or for MVPs where you can get a lot of traffic, because each if you A/B tests is like you split something into half, right? There are ABC tests. There are you can test whatever you want, and you have to have enough data to test it. And basically, if you are speaking about new apps, obviously they will not have enough traffic, and they would have to wait for half a year to make a decision, and it would be very, very painful. But I tested it, and I just implemented a new paywall. I ran it for 1 week, and I saw the difference in 70% for paywall, and I said, okay, this is the way. Let's just do it. I don't care about other data. I don't care about the truthfulness of this data. If it works, and on a long distance, it was like the chart of subscriptions goes like this. Of course, on a small scale, but but you have to you have to make very, very fast decisions. And even if it's not A/B tested, but you have to experiment a lot. And in the worst case, you can roll back. Nothing bad will happen, especially if you have 50 users. Okay, you can excuse yourself and say, hey, sorry, we messed up. Yeah.
I would love to see A/B testing on different payment schemes. For instance, for digital content. I mean, what if, for a large newspaper, we set up an A/B test where you can buy single article readings using Google Pay, Apple Pay, with a subscription or with a fee to Apple and Google, then compare the conversion rate on that with normal subscriptions where you need to enter a credit card. I think you would be able to see if it makes sense to actually accept paying the fee to Apple and Google in exchange for having more customers.
Yeah, that's an interesting case, actually. It's interesting. And the third option will be just remove paywalls and see the ads.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting case. But I bet that they did it now. They like Wall Street Journal, and everybody goes to paywall with subscriptions.
Okay, jumping kind of back to analytics still. How much the client on the start of the project needs to invest in a user experience for the MVP? How much does he need to put in money just to think about how the user will come to this conclusion, how the user will use this feature, what the user needs to be informed about, what he will know already?
How much? Well, if you fail, it doesn't make sense to make the app, I guess. But I mean, how much does it cost to do that kind of work? I think a rule of thumb is sort of team size. If you scope it down, like you mentioned, Slava, 3 months is a pretty good time frame for an app. Of course, you need a developer for the app. You need someone to do the back end. You need some kind of design on it. What's your rule of thumb in terms of how?
Well, I count 3 months of development. Design can be should be on top of that because I don't know. My take is that UX and UI is really important right now because it's like eye candy and it sells better. So it's not everything, but because the leader, especially in apps, like top 3 positions, top 5 positions take all the traffic. And no matter how beautiful your app is, if you are late to the party, you will be top 10, right? And there will be 0.something% of the installs that everybody else has. So it's like kind of hard to get there. But it helps. Like it really helps. That's why there are A/B tests on the icons. There is analytics on what screenshots works best. And this is done I know the question was about UX, not about the UI. But yeah, I think that UX is important, but I'd rather copy from the industry leaders something that is not very important and focus all the UX on the core functionality that you have. And this should be like the most important stuff that you're gonna do. And the rest can be regular. You don't need to reinvent how the login works. You don't need to reinvent how the, pin setup works. Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah, I don't think that, design is a quite complex system. I mean, you obviously need some kind of user journey design, like where does this app fit into the overall service of the business? You need some UX to wrinkle out like friction and make it smooth to use. You need, of course, pretty good UI. You also need some kind of human understanding on what is it people actually want to achieve. So to put it a bit tabloid, if you get a really like artist-oriented UX designer who wants to have their full visual expression in the app, you're probably going to drive the user into using the app for too long time. Well, if you focus on the psychological aspect, people usually don't want to spend too much time buying a ticket for public transport or a haircut. They want to get on with their lives. But I think that in digital product development, getting these kind of perspectives into the organization is new. So I think they're used to like their spreadsheets and their business plans and their strategy. They know about tech, but getting the full like design approach on it can be challenging, I think.
Yeah, I have different take on the creativity as a design. Like, I think that design should be functional, not beautiful. It should be beautiful, but as a last step, in my opinion, because there are a lot of dribble shots, like the gallery of how beautiful everything can be, but it's either going to be very expensive to build, and it's beautiful only for the designers in many cases. And you have to understand who your client is. Is it as you mentioned, the old ladies? If your main audience is old ladies, you don't need fancy design for that. You don't need any swipe elements like, oh, I'm going to hide some menu and you have to swipe. They will never find it. Yeah, right. So there should be a big red button saying what exactly you need to do. So you have to really understand your audience, and I think that UX should be based on that.
Yeah. Another like fun wartime story. We did an app for claims for car insurance in Norway, and our stakeholders at the client, they said this is really easy because we know what the finished solution looked like. There's the standard EU form that everyone needs to fill out if they are in a car crash. This is the data we want. And we can augment it with cameras, and we can do like GPS positioning. This car came crashing onto me from the right side. But that's what we're going to build. And then we said, yeah, I'm sure you're right, but just let's, to be certain, listen in the call center. So we spent the day listening to the call center, sort of listening to people having crashed, what kind of questions they had, what kind of questions they got back, how the process evolved. And after the day, we asked them, well, nobody seems to be talking about this form. Don't you use it? And they said, yeah, well, we don't use it, but I think they use it in the legal department. So we asked the legal department, and they said, no, we don't use it. They just use it for settlements. Then we talked to the settlements people, and they said, no, it's legal. They want it. So we knew nobody uses this form. So we agreed that, okay, maybe we don't need to recreate this form. And this is a design problem, right? Getting insight from users and the business. And once we didn't have that requirement anymore, we could start thinking more freely about it. So what is this? Basically, it's just a decision tree. Am I in fault for driving onto it, or is it someone else? Is the car damaged? Is anyone hurt? So it's a pretty small decision tree. And we ended up building it as a like chatbot interaction. And for 80% of the users, it was 4 options. So you had to tap 4 different options, and then you were done, which redefines how you actually solve the problem. So you can actually re-engineer your business processes after user behavior, which is interesting because these things, especially in insurance and banking, they've been around for ages. And nobody anymore understand the reasons why things are the way they are. Exactly. So it's also a golden opportunity for actually rethinking how you do your business.
Yeah, that's a great example, basically. But how, nobody needs these filled forms? Who's at fault?
Oh, you're curious. You know who needs it? I think I remember correctly. It's if we are in a car crash, you say that you were at fault.
Yeah.
We agree that it was your fault. Then afterwards, you change your mind and say, no, it wasn't my fault after all. So you come home and sort of realize. And then evidence. Our insurance companies cannot agree objectively on whose fault it is, which is, I think it was 2.7% of the cases. So the paper form is used in 2.7% of the cases, and they wanted to use it for everyone.
And if, the solution that you created, there is no paper form, right?
No.
So how do this 3% of users are solving it?
I don't know. To be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Because for us, I think it's binded by the law that you have to do it and you have to fill it if you want to avoid police calling.
Yeah, we can ask the police. Maybe the police will say, no, we don't use it.
Yeah,
Just
but
kidding.
I don't know. That's interesting take on how to assess like what users needs and how. Yeah,
And I
insurance
think-
is interesting.
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
honest.
that's sort of the story as well. So going back to the public transport thing, the problem we were solving the first time we created the ticketing app was that they had these big gates that you needed to get through. So everyone was really thinking about, oh, how can we do RFID to open the gates and sort of get that access control? What actually ended up happening was that they tore down the gates. They didn't need them anymore because you weren't using paper tickets. So rather they have today, if there's a ticket inspection, there are people on board the metro using an app. And they're going to scan your app. So you really, really don't know need that process that you started out solving.
Cool. That's interesting story. Yeah, to be honest.
Our controllers also check with the app if your ticket is valid, but it's like very complicated process for them because they have like separate checker for normal tickets and then separate checker for like your QR tickets. So it should be optimized, but maybe in the future Chile will do it and lead it. We'll see. Hopefully, very hopefully. But you also mentioned bank and talking about the user experience. I'm a good example. I changed my bank last year mainly because of user experience. I won't say what banks it was.
Please say.
Bank one just had a terrible application, just terrible. I couldn't use it. I didn't want to use it. Never used it. Like used it once, crashed, deleted always. And the bank too, that had like more or less similar fees, stuff like that. Everything was more or less similar. I changed only because the app was phenomenal. It was super convenient. I knew everything that was there. It had
a good example. Like, what can you say?
push notifications.
No. What was the name of the bank? Like the good example you can say.
Okay. Swedbank.
Swedbank. Have good app. Edgar likes. Okay.
Yeah, it has terrific user experience, like push notifications. I can find everything and anything there. It doesn't crash like the bank one.
But they don't have the thing that Marius said about the for the users they have this split of the costs, but for the businesses they don't have it. So
yeah, but still, as a normal user,
for the user,
it's like night and day. I'm super happy about the app, and I just like to even play around it, just push it and see. Oh, I have this much money. Oh, I spent this much money last month. It's also a super feature that you can see everything that you spent on previous app. Nothing. Crashed.
Cool.
Because, user experience is king. Talking about user experience, what about user engagement? How do you keep user engagement in each session, or what's the main key features for that?
Oh, this is a double-edged sword, I think. So there's a book called Hooked by an Israeli psychologist, which is about like building habits, basically building addiction. Which I think is what all the companies like Facebook and TikTok are using. And it's so powerful that I think most of us we don't have any natural defense against it. It's really, really easy to get you hooked and engaged and using an app. So the author of this app, his next book it's called Indistractable. And it's about how you make yourself indistractable to that kind of engagement. I think it's really powerful when it's a real powerful tool, and I just hope people will use it for good.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok is a good example. Like a few months ago, I hated the app. I hated the idea of this app, but my wife kept sending me these memes. Hey, look at this TikTok. Yeah, and now she sends me, and all I do at home just swipe TikTok. I hate this, but it's fun.
How many hours a day do you have on TikTok?
Not that many, like maybe an hour, something like that. It's less.
Yeah.
And haven't checked, but it's not that much. I think people have like 6-7 hours plus every day, and I think that's normal, I guess.
I have a daughter who's 15. When she was 13, she got TikTok and started using it. And then I looked at the screen time, and she had on average 6.5 hours a day. Wow. She's in school for 4 hours at the time, and twice as much time on TikTok. So we agreed to set up a limit on it. So now she has a 1 hour limit, and she fills that every single day. So it's 60 minutes. It's never 59. It's always 60. So she keeps going until it's turned off.
Wow.
She can trace the bar if she does some chores or homework or extracurricular or something.
Hey, do this, I will increase my...
I washed your car.
Yeah.
Give me TikTok.
Yeah, cool.
I think this is also a big kind of problem for games that we mentioned at the start, because ad-driven, because they're like these apps that you can get, like for example, you can unlock this feature if you grind for an hour, half an hour, or you can watch 3 videos. Hey, okay, of course I'm gonna watch 3 half-minute videos better than spend 1 hour just grinding, because it's all the time.
But this is speaking of TikTok, I had an argument with my fiance a couple of days ago, and I asked, "Hey, can you show me the screen time?" And she's like, "No." And then we checked, and it's a lot. Like it's 4 hours total in social media, so it's half of a working day. And I have also issues with this Reels and Instagram, YouTube Shorts. I removed TikTok. I try to not be tempting for myself. But even if we like create apps and we know how it's done, like the power of it, and even we are hooked to that. Imagine it's insane. Yeah. So sorry, I distracted. Where were we?
User engagement.
User engagement. So user engagement is something that games use. Something very, very simple for you. Duolingo the same, basically. Very, very simple levels at the start, and then the progression gets harder and harder and harder, like the Candy Crush stuff. And you are so invested into something. When I was young, I spent so much time playing World of Warcraft, and I couldn't stop. And then I understood how much time I actually wasted, and that was like a deal breaker. So I don't know. It's really good mechanics how to monetize users with ads. That's why I think. I don't know. What's the conclusion here? It's
a great power that we have to use only for good, not evil.
Yeah. And I mean,
what is good for you, for the advertiser, for the app maker,
for everyone?
I know one healthcare.
Yeah.
So if you have a obese person using an app and you want to inspire that person to be more active, it's going to have an actual impact on their life. So using these techniques for engagement, gamification on someone to get them to, I don't know, in the beginning, if you're really obese, maybe don't walk all the stairs at work. Try walking down 3 stairs, building habits that way. I think it's because it talks to the primitive part of our brains, habits and gamification and rewards. It's really, really powerful to use for good causes. I think healthcare is one. Education is another one. I mean, I'm not regretting that you shouldn't watch my screen time on Duolingo. I spend way too much time, but it's actually taught me a whole new language. I think there are some really good examples of using it for good. I think loyalty concepts as well. I had a sort of a mind twister here. We built an app for a grocery retail chain where we wanted to make the user experience as simple as possible. So rather than having to pull up your QR code or something to identify yourself to get the discount, we built it into the actual payment scheme, which is really nice. The problem is that people don't know that they get the discounts because it all happens automatically. And once you don't know anymore, you sort of forget about it. So the science in loyalty programs is that you actually want the user to engage with it, which is why you have like tap here to look at your discounts, click to activate and so on. Because activating customers provides more loyalty than passive users.
Yeah. And mobile app is like mobile phones are with us everywhere. And they created so many new businesses like micro-learning apps. you can read a book in 30 minutes, which is absolute nonsense, but they do give you an extract. And I read it. I read this. It's still better than, spending time on social media and arguing over the internet. So it's not the same as reading the whole book, but it's still much better. So I think that healthcare education is really great places where we can do that.
Also had I downloaded some app. It is like just drink water app. I just used to drink less water than I should have. I download an app, and after each half an hour, just send me a push. Hey, drink some water. Drink some water. Drink some water. And in the end, it just said, "Good job." And if I drink more, I could also tap at any moment that I drink the 200 milliliters, liter, whatever. Okay, liter at one moment would be a bit much, but after I reached a certain point, it said maybe you should slow down a bit because too much water also could be negative for you. And also I have app for a few weeks, like workout app. If I don't even one day do some workout, it just sends me, "Hey, where are you? Come work." Come back, we have some new like training regime, something like that. Please don't leave us. No, not that aggressive, but it's just motivational. It's like this is same for medicine, like medicine apps. It's using user engagement for good.
I don't know if it's good, but one industry which has really low engagement on their customers is insurance. It's the only interaction most people have with their insurance companies is actually either when their payment is due or if they have a problem and they need to use the insurance, which is why many insurance companies, probably all, want to have more engagement from their users in the app, which makes sense. Have you done any engagement work with insurance? Because
yeah. Like we try to. Yeah, we did a couple of we did a couple of proof of concepts. We did a lot of like usability improvements for the insurances, but that allows them to to do it quite often. Basically, like the health checkers and hey, I don't know, you have Health Kit app and it shows you hey your heart rate is too high. Please go visit a doctor or something, for extensive period of time. Yeah, like mostly proof of concepts because it's quite, I would not say it's very precise. You have to be really careful because it's health. But yeah, it would be great to work on something like that, like to check. But as our topic is, does mobile app, like what kind of businesses needs a mobile app? Do you know any implications where business should never have an app? Do you have anything in your experience?
I think we've said that so many times to clients, trying to find any examples.
Something in construction.
You can use it for saving money, basically reporting and measuring something with the LiDAR.
Technically you can use an app for pretty much anything, like any scenario in the world. But should you? Yeah, that's a really different question.
Yeah, but because I was trying to. There is a small article that I wrote. I tried to think what kind of businesses need an app and which are not. And maybe you have some experience because
actually I can't remember any right now.
Because for me it was mostly that if there is no money, if your user audience does not use mobile apps, if your audience doesn't need mobile app, right? I don't know, if you are polishing shoes, they don't need a mobile app, right? If they're using it once in a month or once in 2 months, then probably the website will be good, right? So if the app is not used every week, at least once, then probably the website is fine. Yeah, but if you want to get on their phones, if you want to get push notifications, if you want to get, getting closer and better UX for them, then maybe it still makes sense, because I don't know how often do you go to Revolut or your banking app? Not very often, right? When
maybe once a day, maybe. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Then you are quite a frequent user, but
for 5 minutes, like
I remember once actually where we said we did not suggest making an app. And that was the Airport Express train in Oslo, 10 years ago. They had this system where to get on the Airport Express train, you just tap your credit card. And then when you get off, there's a gate. You tap the credit card again. It's fine. Then they had their departure times in an app or on the website or on big boards. It runs every 10 minutes, so you basically know that it's always there. And they wanted an app which would use Bluetooth beacons, GPS positioning, and some kind of like pre-registered card in the app, which you would onboard and then pay using the app. Looking at this, we were like, okay, so you need to ask for permission to use Bluetooth. You need to ask for permission of location in order to know that you're close to the station. And then you need to put a lot of work into getting the credit card registered. We ended up recommending them not to make that, which I think is it's an interesting example. They did, however, end up making an app, and I guess the people who made it were smarter than us. So today they have a pretty easy app, and it's Apple Pay and Google Pay, which didn't exist at the time. But at least they don't use the Bluetooth and GPS, because I think depending on permissions, which the user is going to be questioning whether to give, that's sort of a slippery road.
Yeah, that's cool. That was my question. Have they made it? So yeah, you answered that. Yeah, they did it. Yeah, but I don't know. For me, I found that you have to do the research a lot. Even if you think that your idea will conquer the world, do the research. Check what competitors do. What is the benchmark? Like, is it hard to get there? Are there any top 10 companies? What quality of their apps are? And if they are very, very high, then probably it's not a good idea to go, because it would take so much effort to push them out from the niche. And the best, I don't know, the go-to strategy is if you already have an audience and you don't have a mobile app and you know ways how to make them buy more or use the data to learn something, then I think mobile app development is no-brainer for you, because you can do a lot with it, like e-commerce and stuff like that. Well, I don't know, at least my bias.
Jumping forward, next big thing. What about marketing? When should a company start focusing on marketing of the app? After the MVP, before, like after a year? Maybe word of mouth is good enough for a half a year while the application is setting in.
I don't think word of mouth scales. It's probably good for getting ambassadors if you could get some way of spreading it. I don't know, social media or whatever. I think word of mouth is not going to defend investing a lot in an app. So I would say marketing is really, really important, and especially the marketing opportunities in the App Store. You can actually get customers in the App Stores for banking customers. We've seen some banks in the Nordics who actually get new customers through screenshots in the apps, which I think is hugely interesting.
Like how it's done? How it's done with the screenshots?
Yes, you have a screenshot saying that we have, I don't know, the best app on the market. We have great customer service. This is our interest rate.
So we're basically on the App Store Connect?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or
I thought they were printing screenshots somewhere and like, hey, this is what you could get.
And if you, for instance, if you search for Disney in the App Store, which people are going to use because they want Disney. Yeah. Lots of streaming services include Disney as part of their offering. That's a really good opportunity for actually getting customers into your app. So yes, I want Disney Plus, but I can get that through, I don't know, not HBO, but one of the other services as well. So using keywords wisely, I think you can do that for banking, for insurance. I switched my electricity provider through the App Store because the app was so terrible. So I sort of, electricity is the same product, whether it's from supplier A, B, or C. But I want a really good app experience. So I searched for electricity in the App Store. One came up, the only one with electricity as a keyword. I could become a customer through the app, which gained them a customer. And it's not because of their prices, it's not because of their customer service, it's because of their app. And of course, the product, the commodity is exactly the same, regardless of who offers it.
Yeah. Well, I think that marketing is really important, especially right now when the quality and I don't know, you you can name anything and it will be in the app, right? I don't know, fly fishing already there, crocheting already there. I don't know, you name it, and it's already exists via one form or another in the app or website, interactive stuff. So people are very, very inventive and they're using it. So you have to understand, maybe not from the day one, but you have to understand at least directions how you will differentiate and what channels you're going to use, metrics like cost per click, how much it costs to acquire a customer, and then it goes very, very close together with analytics. Basically, you cannot do marketing without analytics, and you cannot do analytics without marketing, I suppose, at large scale for sure. So yeah, I think that it should be like while somebody is doing the mobile app development, the founder or the business person should do the marketing. Because you have to launch it somehow. People have to know it, that your product is the best, that your product is better at something that the competitors. The Swedbank app is much better than the bank that they had before. So yeah, you have to promote it. So marketing.
And I think that one thing that's really weird is to see how many marketing departments who are not working on the App Store listings for their app. If you go into, big banks, insurance companies, car producers, whatever, look at their website, compare it to their listing in the App Store. It's obvious that some poor developer at 4 a.m. in the morning was doing screenshots just to get the submission right.
Descriptions,
And the description. Marketing is not involved, which I think is such a huge lost opportunity.
Yeah, true. Because it's free money, right? You get free users. If you get more ranks, you get free users.
There's also services called AppsFlyer that you can put a lot of different plugins that see how many users you got from this channel, then you can analyze and see how much your money you have to spend on. Maybe you have to prioritize better on this channel. You can buy, for example, Google Ads more than just some small company. You'll get more revenue from it. Kind of. No? Makes sense? I guess no.
Yeah, you have to understand the cost per click, cost per acquisition, and there is a golden rule for those who do the advertisement and subscriptions. There is, if your lifetime value that your user brings per app is higher than cost per acquisition, basically then you can ramp up as much as you pay for the ads. And this is how small apps and become big, right? So if you invest 2 cents and you earn 3, then you can print money more or less, right? So it's very, very, very important. And from my experience, marketing is 80% of success of the app. 15 is development plus design, 5% is luck.
How about future trends? People are a lot talking about AI taking over. We already have autonomous robots with ChatGPT in them. what about if the client comes to you and says, "Hey, I just put on ChatGPT this information that he spit out. I got these that I'm getting lost for words. Need more water. I put all the information that I need. ChatGPT just spit it out. Just do this." Can we trust AI for making a business decision, for making an application?
Can we trust generative AI? Maybe not, but I think I'm really into the more boring parts of AI. So machine learning, definitely yes. Old-fashioned statistics, hell yeah. That's what we're doing, right? I think that the hype of ChatGPT and the likes, it's very convincing, but I think the actual business value remains to be proved.
Yeah, it can be good on the research phase. Everybody is like the most growing apps for the last 3 months is AI helpers, AI this, AI that, AI for pets, AI role play, whatever. So AI is the most growing per amount of apps. But in the end, everything is ChatGPT inside, or something similar. So can I trust the business decisions to GPT? Definitely no, even though it's trained on millions of data. But it can be good for research. It can give you some hints and ideas, and it's like good to chat back and forth. Like, hey, if I do this, what would affect? But you should always think that it's not really experienced person. It's just giving you what you want to see, because it's there for you to be engaged. I don't know. It's always giving you something, no matter how dumb stuff you're going to write, and it's going to be giving you the information very, very in a truthful format, so that this is reliable, so I can use it. But more in many cases, it's not. The great example is try to give a mathematical riddle to ChatGPT and see if it can count it correctly or something like that. It's not meant to do that. It's meant for just generate an answer for you. I don't know.
That being said, I've been for years really excited about on-device machine learning. So I mean, all modern phones have dedicated hardware for running machine learning models. I don't see a lot of apps using that power, which is sad, because it also preserves privacy. So if I have my data on my phone, I have a machine learning model. For instance, if I do grocery shopping, how hard would it be to predict the next product that I'm going to put in my basket? If I come into a store and I just had a model which just next product it's going to put there, it's always probably going to be Coca-Cola for the first one. Once I have the Coca-Cola in there, try guessing again. So no leakage of data, no huge cloud services. If I put, tortillas in there, it's going to start giving good suggestions. And it all happens on device. And I think it's weird that people haven't realized the potential that lies there.
I don't know. I would like to oppose here, because AI works on big scales, and if your training is 2 times you went to the shop, so the selection is only 2. There is only one product that you like, and next time he will just propose you Coca-Cola, right?
No. I'm thinking about actually embedding the pre-built model into the app.
Oh,
so you generate the model on actual data. But then you just put the model into the app and use that on this specific user.
Oh, so you have built certain profiles before, and then you apply the profile. Then it's different, because
if it's a grocery store, it's 15,000 products, a couple million users. It's not a huge model, but it can run really efficiently on your device. And I think that the data that you don't gather through learning on device is a huge lost opportunity, because this is actions that's invisible to you as a business. What's going on in people's minds as they move around that you don't know until they end up at the point of sales, where you don't know. Well, if you were to do this kind of model, adding discounted products, like adding little gifts, gamifying the experience. Here's based on your profile. Here's a free chocolate bar or whatever. Yeah. It brings a lot of value into the part of the user experience, which is not today covered by the digital experience.
How fast have the client have to adapt their applications? For example, they have a working app, everything's great, but the competitor did something very trendy, very niche. A lot of people loved it. How quickly he has to adapt, or think of something different, or he has to stay the same?
You probably got this question too, I guess. So first, what does it cost to develop an app? And then what does it cost to maintain it? And I think the rule of thumb in terms of enterprise software is 20% yearly on maintenance and 80% upfront. So in terms of user-facing products, I would turn that on the head. So spend 20% initially and then 80% every year afterwards to improve the product, because that's when it's in the hands of people. So it's not like construction. It's not like building a new house and just keep it standing. This is something that keeps evolving and your business keeps evolving. If you're successful in your app and you actually create value for people, you get lots of insights into other kind of services you can add as well. Mm-hmm. I think rule of thumb, 20% investment, 80% yearly on revenue, which means that you're not done once you release the app the first time. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, also this trends and hype comes and goes. Do you remember there was an app one day called Clubhouse? Yeah, you didn't even remember, but it was huge back in the day. It was, everybody was like, oh, this is a Clubhouse, and where it's now. Like, you cannot always get all the trends, right? Like AI is the most trendy. Bitcoin was back in the day. So now Bitcoin is trendy again. But yeah, anyways, you cannot follow all the trends. So my opinion is that you have to keep to the core of your app and don't try to chase some potential growth. Just stick to the core. If it becomes viral, good for you. But you shouldn't aim to become a viral. You cannot emulate that. There are so many content creators who are like, hey, I want to become viral, but it's not something that you can really measure and predict. So yeah, that's why I think it's going to even itself out, and there is no point in chasing the virality of it.
What's the top app on the App Store and Play Store now, today?
Oof, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. But I think it should be one of the social medias. Yeah. Maybe TikTok.
Facebook, maybe? No. Yeah. Swedbank.
Well, in Latvia, maybe.
It's actually interesting, right?
I will check, but...
Well, Slav is checking. We all actually are talking very much. Maybe some final verdicts about if the business actually needs an app. Marius, what do you think in general?
In general, I'd say yes. I think we looked at this first time 2018, I think, and we counted the number of people, and we didn't count. We looked at the number of people in the world. At the time, there were 7-point-something billion people. 2 billion credit cards, 2 billion cars, 2 billion PCs. There's like roughly 1 out of 4 owns some kind of high tech. And it was 5 billion smartphones. Today, I think it's 9 billion people in the world and 7.8 billion smartphones. And it's still the number of PCs has been stable. So there are 4 times as many smartphones as PCs in the world. Look at where people use software, it's on their phones. And it just keeps growing. On average, it's like 5 hours a day on the smartphone. In Norway, people pick up their phone 150 times a day. So this is where we consume services in digital form. So I think it's more a question about creativity, user needs, and business needs being on that platform, because that's where users expect to meet your business.
Slav?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, the top app is Marketplace. Second is TikTok, at least in Latvia. So, we were somewhat right. But in terms of like summing up, I think that, everybody is using mobile as their second life, basically. Nobody goes even to toilet without a phone, right? It's a time killer, and you use it every day. There is not, like, the people who doesn't use a smartphone is weirdo or some criminal, and we're like, oh no, this is something strange with a person. So it's so common to have a mobile phone and to use apps that if you want for your business to grow and to scale, and you know how to sell them something or how to do service for them online, then it can be applicable to mobile apps. And I think it's really wise to focus on mobile instead of focusing on web if your monetization allows it. So I think there are not many ways on how, like, what businesses doesn't need a mobile app, and there are many more applications being made for very, very specific things that we never thought can be even done with mobile apps. So summing up, it's about the money. Can you basically make it work, and can you
in short, if you have business, you need an app.
With the hint, yes.
There you go, folks. Thank you for joining in. This is Chili Podcast. Thank you, Slav. Thank you, Marius. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.